Well, hello. I'm excited on this episode of our Action Coach Business Spotlight series to have Blair Thompson with us. Blair, thanks for joining. I hope you're doing well today.
Absolutely. Doing great. Thanks for having me, Matt.
Oh, it's so great to have you. Blair is the founder and president of Sparta Wealth Partners. Understand you to be a private wealth management firm based here in our local community in the greater Charlotte and Charlotte areas, but would like to know more. Tell me about your business, your team, and your services, please.
Sure. So we are a private wealth management firm. The industry nomenclature for us is a multifamily office. So what we're really seeking to do and do day in and day out is really help the business owner from a small to medium standpoint, or the executive, if you will, that has a little bit of complexity in their world, streamline, make that more efficient, and ultimately find savings and opportunities to help them grow financially. Our team is comprised of 8 total people. We have everything from investment management to financial planning, fee-based financial planning. We are extremely what we call agnostic. So what we've really striven to do is really have a multifamily office level of opportunity for folks that may or may not qualify at a private bank, or maybe have a situation that gives them an opportunity to have that complexity a couple years down the road.
So maybe not as exciting, but vitally important is the system by which you do that. So maybe if we could just speak for a moment as you start to understand your prospective clients, probably still doing a bit of that discovery early on, like we do in coaching, to know what the challenges or dreams are and if you're the right fit together. Yeah. But the system to do that, to kind of break down that complexity, standard intake questionnaire, do you have something proprietary? What does that look like?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So we do leverage technology. We do have profile questionnaires and things we're required to keep on file to be compliant. But really, we just like to have a conversation and say, hey, what are you trying to accomplish? That could be paying less taxes. That could be taking less risk. It could be growing assets toward a specific goal. Retirement's a big one, obviously. But really, our approach is we want to bring that family office level. And by family office, I mean typically those opportunities and knowledge bases reserved for ultra affluent investors, down to what we would consider the small to medium business owner that needs those same knowledge and opportunities to be successful, doesn't have time to do it every day. It is a misnomer to think that all of us in our busy lives can manage all of our finances with the amount of intake and data that's happening on a daily basis. So we try to be kind of an outsourced CFO. We like to work with an individual or family or business and manage those affairs in a number of different streams.
I love that concept of an outsourced CFO. We are extensions. You and I have that in common. We are extensions of our clients. And I would think you'd agree with this, but just to confirm, find our success through and in their success. And is that a fair statement?
It's a very fair statement. We are 100% aligned. We grow as the client grows as well.
Yes. And so I found as a solopreneur, that's still difficult, but easier when you're in control of all aspects of your business. As your team has grown, you mentioned 8 team members now, not that the number is the important piece, but that there is a team there that's in locked arms. But talk a little bit, if you could, Blair, with us about, as you've built your organization, if I'm not mistaken, a little over 5 years now with Sparta Wealth Partners. So that break point for a lot of businesses, quite frankly, to even get to that 5 years, 80% don't make it that far as small business startups. But to be able to keep that team aligned with the initial vision 5 years ago, insights there?
Sure. No, it's a great question. So I've been in the industry, and I'll touch on this in a minute, in different capacities for about 20 years. Okay. What I've seen and what we've evolved to has ultimately led me to think that really the differentiator and key driver for us at the Sparta level is being able to deliver truly custom solutions. I've had experience in large private banks. I've had experience in the independent channel. There's multiple different ways in the financial services industry that advisors can connect with clients. And at the end of the day, the independent channel, which is where we reside today, meaning we're a registered investment advisor and we're able to custom tailor our engagements specifically to one individual at a time, is the key. Many of the larger firms are less entrepreneurial. They don't allow custom engagements. And by custom, I mean just tailored management programs, tailored advice, engaging on the tax planning side, things like that, that are typically difficult to do in a large, call it 10,000 person organization. So what we try to be is that nimble, really advanced planning resource that a lot of the larger firms can't do because they're engineering solutions for hundreds of thousands of people at a time versus our business. And similar to your business, you're custom engaging and tailoring needs to meet individuals where they are, not putting them in a model or a box where someone else is.
Yeah, I think I'm connecting the dots to clarify that. So in that role as kind of a outsourced CFO, I also hear the term fractional, but I like outsourced better. For some reason, it's resonating with me. But in that concept, your lane and the importance of staying in it, when you identify the financial health could be stronger if the operational delivery was stronger, for example. You tracking with me?
I am, yeah.
How far do you as a business, how do you navigate the endless opportunity to drive more profit in a business with what you and your team are specifically there to do?
Well, ultimately, it kind of works like a client in our lane. So, one of the analogies I would give you is that for the listeners out there, you can make as much income as your heart desires, but at the end of the day, really the only thing that matters is what you keep. So what we try to do internally and externally is drive efficiency. And there are multiple strategies out there that don't get the same kind of PR, that don't get the same kind of marketing, that are a little bit more advanced than the average firm will publish on their website. So from our standpoint, we try to drive internally and externally a sense of urgency, a sense of custom engagement. The days of having the stockbroker or the person that's trading securities for you on a daily basis are pretty much over. What we try to do is really engineer the operational efficiency that we would deliver back to our clients so that their operations, their personal needs, their family, their business drive more efficiency as well. Typically, that's on the financial side. What we don't do are accounting and tax returns, but we can work with accountants and CPAs and do that regularly to find opportunities, collaborate, and ultimately execute.
That was very insightful. Thank you. And so being able to execute, kind of going back to a previous topic we've had just thus far regarding that team, and to bring clarity to complexity takes not only experience, but a certain predisposition in a way. That's a mad opinion, but I'll state it somewhat factually, that not everybody has the ability to step back from complexity and find a thread without being the expert on every area, pull a thread that brings efficiency, profitability, customer satisfaction, all those things with it. Is there anything that you could share with our listeners as far as insights on how to attract that type of, that caliber of talent, if you're looking for that type of a team member, that may even be on a compensation structure, I would assume that's largely performance-based, right? As far as book of business. So they've got so a lot in there. Let me pause and see if you have any reactions.
Sure. Well, it's interesting. Through the last 20 years, I've really been attracted to more entrepreneurial mindsets, just from an interaction standpoint. People that think, proactively, people that are looking for strategic advice and what we would call wealth partnerships versus just, sitting behind a computer and managing money, like a lot of our profession does. So I would say that the biggest insight that I've discovered over the years, and similar to your business as well at Action Coach, is introductions and referrals typically are the most advantageous way for us to get to know like-minded clients. So, I would say that I can't think of any instance where we have not significantly added enough value for a client that they've said, aha, you know what, I may have a friend, a family member, someone in their world that may have a similar disposition or may have a similar challenge that they're trying to overcome.
It's
So,
always that I know a guy, right? Or I have somebody you should talk to. And while in business, we'll surely always do the lead generation and, marketing type activities just for brand awareness, information sharing, and those things. Right to the front of the line clearly is a warm referral from someone that knows, likes, and trusts you, Blair, and your team. And by virtue of that, if you have a 13-step sales process to where you're in a healthy relationship with a client, you can short circuit that obviously in many cases when there's a referral or a warm introduction there.
sure.
And that's a great spot to be in, that as you move up that kind of entrepreneurial ladder where that book of business is coming from. And I think a lot of people lose sight of that, just to prove that point of, it's all about acquisition. The most important clients are your current clients, right?
Right. I'm a little unique in the sense that we have a dual use capital initiative as well that I partnered with a firm in Pinehurst on, called Excel Innovation Corp. And you can see it on the Sparta website, but
Okay.
I'd say the entrepreneurial bloodline is really deep. So a lot of clients can resonate more with a small business owner like myself than and actually the advisors on our team are actually small business owners within the business as well.
Same way I am, yeah.
Yeah, like so examples of that are a lot of people in our industry do like to just manage assets or manage investments behind the computer all day. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's hard for a business owner that's, charging and growing and tasked with, performance initiatives and things in their world to really resonate or relate sometimes to a person with that personality. Doesn't mean anything is wrong. It doesn't mean that anything is right about our model versus theirs. But we just find that it's a lot easier to work with individuals that are like-minded, that do have complexity, just like we have in our daily lives.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I think that the duck above water, right? And the analogy of it is that there's that rhythm to business. And if you're a dancer, which I don't claim to be, but kind of what you see is either there's a flow, there's an anticipation versus potentially stepping on each other's toes. And so you do attract, I think as you establish your core values as a business and kind of your non-negotiables, you set a baseline of what type of client you're looking to work with, but it's also based on what do you want to be known for and known as. As you think about the core values of Sparta and the non-negotiables, that are those tent stakes for you, Blair, may even be published throughout the office. Haven't had the opportunity to come see that yet, but would love to do so. What would we see, or what words when someone says, your core values, your mission, your ethos?
Yeah, so we actually publish it right on the website. and we do have some non-negotiables. We're pretty selective on our clientele, just like clientele, should be selective on their advisor and a trusted relationship. But just on that topic, trust is a big one. So, there has to be a dual contract of trust, if you will, right? So, we're going to ask questions that require honest answers. And typically, the more information someone can share with us, the better. Might not be financially related, but certainly context, emotional, biases and things like that are helpful. Integrity is a big one for us. So, we're not looking to work with someone who's trying to skirt the system or work in a nefarious way. One of the biggest things that we're actually driven on from a core value standpoint is giving back as well. So we try to give back time to the client. That's the most valuable commodity we've all got. And a lot of the things that we're committed to are taking time and putting it back with that business owner so that he or she can essentially think about what they're doing day to day and have trust and confidence that the financial matters are being handled very professionally and proactively.
Blair, that was a real nugget there. Just as far as giving back and giving back time. We start working with a client, we always state that the objective is to find 4 to 5 hours out of their schedule a day or a week, excuse me, to work on the business, not in the business, and just doing a time study, which so many of us would benefit from. Having gone through that exercise can be a little bit painful, but just seeing where your time is going. But to your point earlier, for that individual that's wired to figure it out and brute force, and I can do this, there's so much information out there, and you all leverage the technology, the team, and the talent of the team to be able to decipher an endless amount of information, many of which and much of which is conflicting. So certainly power in advisor and a partnership, as you mentioned, just as an extension of their team and of their organization. Final thought from just a growth perspective is if you've either looked back over the past or you're on your strategic focus for the next 5, an obstacle that you're looking to overcome might be seen more as an opportunity to really go beyond where you've been, and or something you overcame. And it's a story of human resilience. Anything come to mind there? A little bit on the spot, but just wanted to see if there was anything you'd share there.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I would say that in our industry and just thinking about financial services as a whole, there's a real lack of transparency. So I have seen organizations do things that make absolutely no sense, and clients are confused, prospective clients are confused. So what I've really tried to do is drive an efficiency in our offering all the way down to, we used to have, large, nice office space, and clients can pick up on the fact that they're essentially paying for those marble floors and, some of the other organizations that really drive big marketing budgets and things like that. So the challenge that we overcame on that is we actually like to go to the client, meet at their location where they're comfortable. We certainly do have clients that come into the office every now and then, but really the post-COVID world for us is that we leverage technology, just like this call today, to be able to communicate more effectively, share data. Like I said, I think that the industry has gotten a little fat, dumb, and happy over the years, so to speak. And what we're trying to do is really transparently engage with someone. I mean, if you look at your investment statement today, typically a person that's relying on someone else doesn't see what all's happening under the surface and may not care, but they should. And they should be aware of how they're compensating an advisor, what they're paying in investment management, for example, insurance, financial planning, all the different things that come about for an individual or business owner. as opposed to absorbing the cost of the marble floors or a big giant office space and things like that. So I'd say the transparency and the efficiency is something that we're trying to do differently in the industry, and give our clients the opportunity to see.
Great insights. And that mindset of improvement is a continuous quality improvement, continuous pursuit of efficiency. This here is Kaizen, which of course is all about operational efficiencies coming out of the automotive space. But to your point you started with, and I can't remember exactly how you said it, but basically what matters is what we get to keep. And so those efficiencies driven back upstream, obviously starting with good information and good decision making so that you have better chance of success. But as we work with our trades clients, you make the money when you sell it, you keep the money when you deliver it. And so everyone seems so focused on bringing in more business, more business, more business, and that is an important thing. But what you do with your current business and how well you deliver it is ultimately the test of resilience and sustainability. And I think back to that thing about breaking through that 5-year mark, you're still laser focused on delivering value to your clients, obviously in financial results and, through good planning, but being excellent in what you do and still being primed to pursue that is kudos in that regard. And so it's been a pleasure to get to talk with you, Blair. I appreciate the insights you've shared. Definitely our goal here of dropping some nuggets for those ambitious individuals in the middle of their entrepreneurial journey, or maybe just at the start. If you're not sure where to go with your financial strategies, or just have some questions and concerns with what to do with the resources that you've been blessed to pile up a bit, and want to make sure to make good use of those resources so they're working on your behalf and you can put your energy elsewhere, I would recommend reaching out to Blair and his team over at Sparta Wealth Partners on the operational and efficiency side, and making good decisions about what business ventures to pursue and how to optimize them. I'm Matt Morris with Action Coach, and we appreciate you taking the time to listen to this episode of our Business Spotlight series. Blair, you gifted me your time. It's a limited and valuable asset. I do appreciate it. Thanks for being on.
Thanks so much, Matt. Really enjoyed it.
Likewise. Talk soon.